जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
लखनऊ जंक्शन
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೆಗೆ
Hyderabad Punjab Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
Shubman Gill's love affair with Ahmedabad continues as he guides Gujarat to 199 in their 20 overs. Punjab unfortunately had no answers to his beautiful stroke play. Shubman 89 of 48 balls, Sai Sudarshan 33 of 19, Kane 26. Rabada got those 2 wickets but was a little expensive. We are back at Cricbuzz live. I'm Saiyami Kher and I have Joyda and Simon with me. Just so beautiful to watch, proper cricketing shots, and that's what we get from Shubman.
That's the batsman we want to see, isn't it? Now the captaincy role starts. It's what we talked about prior to the game starting. That's the most important thing for Shubman, is to bat the way we know he can. Just that silky smooth nature of the way he plays his strokes, some of the shots down the ground. Just a joy to watch, absolute joy to watch. And if he can continue to do that and separate the captaincy from his batting, and now he has that other job to worry about, then you're just going to see more and more of it. But superbly timed, well paced, and some brilliant little cameos as well in and around it. But that strike rate, finishing at 185, having only faced 48 deliveries out of the 120, is absolutely brilliant.
So that's 40%.
Yes.
He's faced 40% deliveries. That's the one thing they look at and say, we could have got him more strike. He could have pushed for more strike. With regard to the World Cup conversation, should I call the travel agent?
Oh, travel agent time.
No.
Who does he replace?
No, I'm just saying.
Simon's
Should I just check for a US
so
visa?
tough to please.
I know. Should I just check for a US visa at least? I'm sure he has it.
It's helped. It's helped. See if he's got. Just send him a generic email, and see if he's got a visa. Whether he's able to travel.
Look, I'm going to go to Gujarat at some point in time. I'm not going to send Shubman Gill a generic email. I promise you that.
But again, now this is going to get thrown up, but we'll know a little later in the IPL as well, because we ask the questions on Cricbuzz Live and then the players come and answer it, and Shubman's done it again.
No, absolutely. And superb innings. And again, the pacing. I mean, he was always at 130, 140. The way he managed to take it up one notch, that's one. Two is he was absolutely unselfish, because he knew that Rahul Tewatia is a specialist last over, final over striker. So Rahul Tewatia batted at 287.5. So when you have a guy batting at that strike rate, the difference between Shubman taking strike and him taking strike towards the end might be at least 7, 8, 10 runs. And that difference he recognized and allowed, he gave him the strike. And I think those are the kind of things that he's a much more complete batsman, a much more capable batsman. I remember the first season that he's just come off, and 2019, and Simon has just seen him in the World Cup and was talking about this amazing. From then, that potential to convert, to mature to what he is today, that journey has been fantastic. It's been a joy to watch.
But Simon, you called it, which is why we have experts like Simon in the house, because he called it in the comm box and he said they should pace it well enough and then leave it to Rahul Tewatia, and he's done what he usually does.
Yeah, and even Sai Sudarshan's little innings, what he struck at 173, 174, that's what you want. When you're building an innings and you have cameos, and great cameos, 23, 24 off 8, 9 deliveries, that's how you finish an innings off. Look, he plays some very unorthodox shots, Rahul Tewatia, but his connection rate is quite phenomenal. He doesn't often miss the ball, particularly when he walks across outside the line of off stump and plays that slog sweep or that sweep shot. He's quite an incredible finisher. I still feel, I want him to be bowling a lot more in domestic cricket so that he really offers something to Gujarat with the ball as well, because then their team can actually take quite a different look if he's bowling 2 or 3 overs in every game as well. But there's no doubting his finishing ability and his ability to find the boundary in just different places, in weird places, places that other batters sometimes just cannot hit the ball or don't hit the ball. Very risky, but again, just, if he does that 3 or 4 times in the season, out of 13, 14 games, that's a winner.
Yes.
That is a winner. He's winning you games by doing those things. Hasn't won it yet, but it's been a brilliant finish.
But he's done it. He did it in UAE with Sheldon Cottrell. He did it last year as well, a couple of times.
Yep.
I think that ability he has, but that's, it's interesting you say that, but even with him able to bowl 2-3 overs, Gujarat is that one of those sides who go for specialist 4 over 5 bowler kind of, that's their kind of attack. And look, the point is, you look at it and you said, couldn't you have a bit of variety? And then said, they've just won a championship and reached a final. Should we be doubting whether they do what they do is right or wrong, And that's exactly with it. But, this is a team that is not playing. Look at it. Who are you missing today from last year? I'm going all the way back to last year. You're missing Shami.
Shami, you'd
always
always
Hardik
miss,
Pandya.
yes.
Okay.
No
you're
Miller
missing
today.
David Miller. And you're still hitting 200. That's what you've got to ask yourself, that this is a side that still manages to do what it promises to set out to do.
And they would have been 3 of the first 4 names, along with Shubman's, on the team list last year.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Easily, 3 of the first 4
But this
names.
is what we were chatting about in the green room, right? Like last year, I think there was a new man of the match for 8 games. So with Gujarat, you always know someone turns up. And today it was, of course, the captain. But just someone just turns up.
Sorry, just one more thing. If you look at where they made 65 runs in their last 5 overs. But more important than that, they just lost 1 wicket. Gujarat have been following them. They tend not to lose wickets in a heap towards the end. And that's something which is very interesting. They lost a wicket in every stage of the match. There was no place where Punjab got a couple of wickets, put some pressure, and the strike rate went really down.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you've got teams that are very comfortable and happy off the field, and I think we bring this up a lot with Gujarat. It just seems to be that environment is pretty cool. It's quite a nice environment to be in. I think when you've got the people that are in and around the management group, but also some of the players. Shubman Gill, he's still a young man, but he's just got a bit of maturity about him. Seems relatively calm, cool character. Williamson. We talked about Saha, how good a bloke he is. There's some good people in and around that whole core group, and sometimes that goes as far as talent to winning new championships or to doing well in tournaments, and they just seem to find a way. As I said, they're not across the line yet tonight. The Punjab have got a very good batting side as well, but they're halfway there, and they've posted a very, very competitive total.
But I have to talk about those 2 on the up shots that Kane Williamson hit, because like I said, it's just today was one of those days where you get to see proper cricketing shots, and then you get to see Rahul Tewatia doing what Rahul Tewatia does. But just a word on Kane coming back after so long. He's been sitting in the dugout and he just looks like he got a 26 of 22.
Yeah. His first game since the first game last year, wasn't it, when he did his knee on the boundary, which kept him out of international cricket for a long period of time. He came back in the World Cup, so that's how long it took him from, I think it was the mid to late April last year, wasn't it? March, last year, when he injured himself. So coming back to it, he probably would have felt a little bit rusty, but he didn't waste deliveries tonight. He didn't really let himself get settled, and he came down the wicket to Rabada. That one, the first one, through extra cover on the out, was just absolutely phenomenal, sublime from Kane, and that's kind of what you want to see. And I think in a strange way, I think Shubman Gill will like having him at the other end, because I think they're very similar style of player. Shubman's a bit taller, obviously, but they're a similar style of player, both real nice timers of the ball. So he might have thought he'd be a little bit rusty, and who knows when Miller got the injury as well, whether he had enough time to think about having to play, whether the injury was picked up in warm-ups or not, because we didn't hear anything about it in the last 2 days, did we? We didn't know David Miller was injured, and usually Joy's on the pulse. He knows everything. So how we missed that one. But it was nice to see him out there, nice to see him back.
But Joyda, we spoke about this in the pre-match show. There's Shikhar Dhawan who's getting the big runs, but there's no one supporting him, and the strike rate's not up there, which is why the innings progression, if you see, doesn't keep going upward. With Gujarat, Gill's inning, he started off, like Simon said, paced it very well. You see the innings progression on Gill's innings here. So he just paced it very well.
That's fantastic. 11 of 29 of the last 11 balls. And before that, 24 of the 11 before that, just tells you that he just knew when to step on the gas. He knew when to get going. You've got some runs up front because the field is in. Then you have slowed down because the field's gone back and you're sort of consolidating. And then you're powering again through the end. And I think that's the important thing about this Gujarat team. The one thing that I tell you, which you've got to look at Gujarat, and that's a difference maker, and whether we like it or not, it's that they know there's not going to be any arbitrary chopping or changing. So what happens is you pay your 23 in 11 because it doesn't matter to you. Nobody's going to come and tell you you played only 23, 11 balls or not. So they're playing very freely. And lots of other teams, and I have to say that Punjab, they don't look as if they're playing freely. They have the feeling, or you sense that they have the feeling that if they get out now, they're scared they won't be picked for the next match. And I think that they're playing with that burden on their heads. They're not playing, so somehow they've not managed to free themselves. And that, I think, is what is holding Punjab back. Because if you look talent-wise, purely on paper, I'd say the Punjab batting lineup is stronger than this Gujarat batting lineup, purely on paper. And there's no doubt about it. But that's the difference.
The amount of seasons they've had a very good-looking side on paper, that just hasn't really delivered the goods, or has shown some potential and then fallen away.
Or teased us and then sort of
win 2 or 3 games and look like a championship side, and then just fall away. And that happens far too often, and you see that. Look, it's a tough competition, I get that. Every team is stacked with talent. But when you've got what seems to be a very good side on paper, and you start to lose, and then the changes happen very quickly. It's the one thing that, Gujarat are a very new franchise. Chennai's the side that just very rarely ever change. Unless you're injured, you're very rarely left out of a Chennai team because they have faith that the team that's good enough for game 1 is good enough for game 4 or game 5. If we've got it so badly wrong that we have to change it up 2 or 3 games into the tournament, then that's our issue. That's not the players' issue. Exactly. And that's what I think that's what the good management and coaches, they own that.
But talking about chopping and changing, I want to have a look at the bowling card. With the numbers that Arshdeep has gone for, with the numbers that Harshal Patel has gone for, again, Rabada and Harshal Patel, 11 economy. We had a word on Harshal Patel in the pre-match show. Reasons for concern, you feel, Joyda? 2
things. One is that, today, whoever's going to bat, nowadays 50 in the last 5 is mandated. You're going to get 50 in the last 5 unless there's a huge collapse. 50 in the last 5 is par for the course. So you tell yourself that, okay, if 2 of your overs going at 10 is par for the course, okay? But your other 2 overs you bowled up front. So 11 still is unacceptable because even if you've given 10 out there and over in the last couple of overs, you should be going better than that early up front. So 8 or 9, acceptable, I understand if you're bowling at the death. 11, no. And again, Harshal Patel had held it back for a while. He was 3 overs for 23, and I think for the last over, he just went.
And for almost 20 in that over.
So I think that's one of the problems that they've had, that consistency. And for today, I thought, Simon, today was one of the pitches which I thought suited him.
Yeah, I thought it did initially, but I think maybe towards the end of the innings, it was just skidding on a little bit more. I think we will see a little bit of dew. And I think it just will be dampened a touch and the ball might slide on a little bit nicer. It seemed to be that way at the back end. Again, though, some of his options, for a very clever man, I think to Watia, there were better options for him. Just continuing to try and go wide. I thought the bouncer was a really good option. Got called for wide, I get that. But when you're going wide of off to Tuwati, you've got to take pace off. And you can't be full with your slower balls. And that was where he erred again. He bowled a couple of slower balls that were full tosses, got swept. You've got to take pace off and go wide and make him drag with no pace. And if not, maybe just bowl the Yorkers at middle and leg stump if he walks across, but set your field accordingly. Yep. Have 4 fielders on the leg side because he's not going to open up and hit you offside.
He's not going to go
there are better options. It's just starting to play on his mind a little bit now. I think the amount of runs he's going for, in excess of 40 in all 4 games now, when you are the highest priced bowler going around the tournament as far as a local talent is concerned, will be a little bit worrying for him, I think, and for Punjab.
But Simon, we were chatting about this in the green room. The pitch, Joyda, looks like you said, looks like a pitch which was holding up a little bit. So can we expect that, or with dew that will change around?
I don't know. That's what I'll go to Simon on this, because I think that it didn't look perhaps as holding up towards the end as it didn't.
Yeah, I think it's at the start and through the middle. I thought there were some that were just holding a bit, and I think you're right. When he bowled some of those earlier slow balls, I think they were gripping a touch.
They were gripping.
But towards the end, I don't know whether they were as much.
Absolutely.
And, having been in Ahmedabad a lot in the last few years, it does get quite dewy there. So it'll be interesting to know whether the ropes are going round, whether we're seeing any of that at the moment. And that will certainly assist Punjab in their batting effort, make it slightly tougher. And, they've gone with Noor again, haven't they? And Rashid. So
But Mohit is in for Rahul Tewatia.
yeah.
So.
Okay, so he's not going to bowl then, is he?
No, but that's what I'm asking myself.
Yeah.
Is Rahul Tewatia that bad a fielder that, Sai Sudarshan, who's surely not bowling?
Yeah.
You're
At least
keeping
have the option of
just
having it
have
there.
the option.
Just
But
have the option.
Again, every time we think of that and we say,
Gujarat.
Look, they've won a championship,
Yep.
they've reached the finals. Shut up. They clearly know what they're doing.
We know Mr. Ashish Nehra will have all of it noted down and properly planned. But guys, we're forgetting something.
Oh, congratulations,
Guys.
Sammy. Well done.
Well done, Sammy. Well done.
It's a Shubman celebration that we should do. But if we're not the bullseye, we'll get there. Simon's taught me to be a little greedy, so we'll try getting to the bullseye. So attempts again now at the power play point, Joyda.
This is Punjab. Okay, I'm going to go ambitious. 67.
Okay.
I like it. I was going to go high as well because I think Bairstow coming off a decent knock in the last game. I'll go 75.
Ooh, 67, 75. I'm going to go with 57.
Okay.
I'm going to go low.
No.
Bullseye. We're looking at you. One of us needs to get the bullseye. We'll wait and watch. We've got one winner, so we'll celebrate that now with some nice
One
dinner.
winner.
One winner.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate that. Don't forget to join us at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox. We'll see you all there.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad 50 Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो